That right there, ladies and gents, is our first native cutthroat here in Wyoming. It's gonna be tough to beat, man. That's incredible.
Whether you find yourself lost in the wildflower fields in some mountain valley, or crunching through a sagebrush flat just outside the foothills, keep a close eye on the water. Wyoming is home to some incredible native trout species, and if you know where they hide and what they like to eat, you just might be able to experience them for yourself. This is a few days chasing cutthroat in southwest Wyoming. Taking a shower was almost pointless. The Midwest was getting crushed by a nasty heat wave, and I was sweating through my dang shorts, but everything I owned was stuffed in the back of the truck, and it was time to go into full road dog mode. Between music, podcasts, and audiobooks, I find myself falling into some strange meditative state, cycling through different forms of distractions. I find that the ears constantly need new flavors to keep the mind alert and ready for that rogue semi-truck. Now, Missouri, Kansas, and Iowa, they were but a blur, mostly due to the excitement of new beginnings. My game plan was to move fast until the eyes grew heavy, using the dim blue light of Walmart's as my beacons of hope, and I pushed a bit further than expected and ended up driving well into the night. I think it was somewhere in Nebraska when it finally hit me bad, but I had to hunker down for a contorted front seat nap and a guaranteed kink in the neck. Right before sunrise, I saddled back up and left the Husker State and her knee-high corn behind. Now, this wasn't meant to be a speed run on expert mode. No, no, no. For my sanity, I decided to add a few fishing pit stops along the way to help break up this cross-country drive. So, if caffeine failed, I could at least use fishing as motivation to white-knuckle my way through. Once I hit the next state line, trucks, trains, and tunnels all passed by in the blur of tired eyes. The only thing that snapped me out of this trance was an exit sign and the pop of gravel roads. We were finally off the highway. Culture shock of seeing something new had me swooning over a sagebrush sunrise seen through the dashboard window, and randomly, a massive reservoir seemed to just appear in the middle, and I mean the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, and it seemed like our route ended up paralleling this body of water for quite some time, and I could feel my truck starting to slope upward. And it didn't take very long to get past this big body of water and pass into pasture land. The neon green valley nestled into the growing foothills seemed to extend back forever, and the public land signs a few miles back meant that we had finally made it to our first pit stop of the trip. Now, as anxious as I was to get on the water and stretch my cramped legs, I still had a lot to do. First and foremost, I needed to make sure I was showing proper mountain time. Next, I needed to rearrange all my belongings so that they fit nice and snug in the cab. But most importantly, the biggest thing on my to-do list was to brush my dang teeth. After a couple hundred miles running on kombucha, 5-gum, and sandwiches, my teeth were feeling rather fuzzy. So, minty fresh and ready to kiss some fish, the last thing on our list was to rig up and get the backpack ready for an adventure. So shifting away from road dog mode, let's talk about fishing. I knew absolutely nothing about this creek, so my original game plan was to fish little sections along the road and stick relatively close to the truck. I wanted to be able to move quickly and cover lots of water. But the reason that I chose this first section is that getting down to the river a little ways down the road looked to be quite precarious. I was hoping that the steep drop and thick willows would be the proper deterrent for any fair weather angler looking for that easy access. There was no sign of worn paths paralleling the river, which was a good sign, but once I jumped in, I realized this stream was a lot deeper than originally anticipated. So, this right here is why I always like to pack in 2 rods. It was time to bust out that 5-weight and rig up a deep dry dropper rig.
Let's see if the old dry drop does the trick. On this big old dry fly? What the heck? That looks like a rainbow to me. Well, not exactly what we were after, kind of partly what we're after. This is a beat up old cut bow. We're looking for the cutthroat, and oh, there he goes.
Very nice. At least the skunk is finally off. Now, even though that was just a cut bow, I'd like to take this time to highlight how we caught that fish. And for those of you who've been around, you've heard this before. For those of you that are new, this is the Fly All Season adjustable dry dropper. And when I say adjustable, I mean it slides up and down, up and down. You can really adjust for depth when you're fishing nymphs, but then it stops and holds fish just like that when they clobber your big old dry fly. So it's a really awesome way, and I'll put the video up right here. Look at that, look at me. It's a bit intense, but I've always got it linked down below. It shows you how to rig it, how to tie it, and I love them. I use them everywhere and at any chance that I can, especially here in the West. So yeah, that was awesome, man. Let's see if we can replicate those results. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was a big fish. Wow. And that was my last look out of this first hole. And the further upstream that I moved, I did my best to target potential structure where these fish might be hiding. The sun was now high in the sky, and I figured it would push them down a bit. I was hitting overhanging trees, brush piles, and deep pools pretty hard without much luck, but I didn't let this get to me. I had a few massive fish come up and eye my rig, and I knew it would just be a matter of time before something happened. Oh geez, that's a good fish. That's a good fish. That's what we want right there. Woo, boy. Yee. Come on. Don't. Oh, I don't want to have to go chase you, but I will if you make me. Come on. Yikes. Come on, give me the reach. Yes. Yes, dude, let's go. Woo! Oh my gosh, yes. Woo! Oh my gosh. Unfreaking believable, man. No. Well, there he goes. He just flopped off. And that right there, ladies and gents, is our first native cutthroat here in Wyoming. And that was a mondo. I mean a mondo Colorado River cutthroat trout. Wow, I am kind of blown away. That was incredible. I wasn't expecting to catch fish of that caliber. I mean, I've seen a couple nice fish today, but that, it's gonna be tough to beat, man. That's incredible. And I suppose if you guys are curious, I talked about my rig earlier, but more so just with the adjustable dry dropper. As far as the rod and reel goes, this is my Ant 9'5" weight, the Fire, with just a basic bat and kill. But I'm rocking a double nymph setup underneath. And what I've noticed in this lower part of the creek is that it is very, very deep. And I'll show you where we got him, but there's this nice willow underhang, and I floated my rig right underneath that and then slowly lifted. And yeah, that's what we got him on. Kind of a subtle stonefly. I think that came out of a post fly box. I don't know, it's always crazy. The flies you never think you're gonna use catch a fish like that. So very cool on that. And yeah, man, that was, I might be a broken record here as always. Apologize for the rambles, but man, what a way to start a trip. That is so good, man. So dang good. Oh yeah, baby, that's a good thing. Oh yeah. Oh, it's here. Ah, don't do that. Yes. Yes. Woo, that's awesome, man. What a great fish. Just getting to hold this big cutty was incredible. I cannot tell you how many nights I spent visualizing slow sips just like that. And the only thing better than seeing my aunt disappear between the jaws of this big cutty was the feeling of the kick on that tail as our second Colorado cutthroat swam back strong. What an amazing fish. Now, even though I was having decent luck so far, I find that it never hurts to see what the fish are actually munching on. And as far as fish food goes, well, there seems to be no end of it in this stream. By land and by sea, the fish have a wide range to select from, and that might help explain why the ones we have been catching are so darn big. This section was a real gem, but as I continued upstream, I could see flashes of my little black truck through the willow thickets, and I was no doubt enjoying myself, but as I made my way up to this big beaver dam, I knew this portion of stream had started to reach its shelf life.
It is a little too windy, so we're gonna leave the big cam out for now and try and tackle this massive beaver pond.
Now, I did have a few nice looks, and I promise you, I fished it hard, but I only managed to land one little cutty out of this nice beaver pond run.
So this is about as far as I wanted to go, at least in this section. Right now, I'm gonna kind of strip down, take a nice quick bath in this cold water because it's pretty hot, and that would be nice and refreshing after a long road trip. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of take this afternoon to move upstream, maybe find a camping spot and maybe better water too. So let's kind of mobilize here and get moving on upstream.
Road trip sweat pits are no match for a solid mountain stream scrub. Washing the stank out of both my clothes and myself was a major boost to the overall morale of the day. I was still feeling the full effects of little to no sleep, but the cold water was the perfect shock to the system to get everything back up and running. And urgency levels, they weren't really high as I moseyed my way back to the truck. The sun was high in the afternoon sky and beating down something fierce, and that had the thermals whipping in every direction and pushing the clouds in a major way. Rough gusts and bright glares aren't exactly the best thing for fishing, so as I gripped up my peanut butter, honey, and pretzel sandwich, I drooled all the way upstream. As soon as we entered the National Forest land, I was having a difficult time keeping my eyes on the road. Between the landscape and the river, I wanted to stop at every single spot and fish, but as the wind kept whipping, I needed to make a decision, so I settled for a fishy looking section and got rigged up for the approaching evening session. With the drone of valley insects and a warm wind at my back, I found myself in a bit of a summer stupor. Crunching across this sagebrush flat on my way back down to a trophy cutthroat stream, I could not believe I was the only angler out in the water, and all day I didn't see another person. It just seemed too perfect, and of course, it isn't good to think like this. Us anglers, we shouldn't act like crabs in a bucket, so I try to brush those thoughts out of my mind, especially while in the moment, because it shouldn't matter whether or not other anglers are there. But as much as I tried, this kept gnawing at the forefront of my mind, and I just couldn't help but ask myself, how could nobody else be here? Now, it could be due to this deep contemplation or the fact that no sleep and shot nerves were finally catching up to me, but I must say, it is embarrassing how many fish I absolutely whiffed or had come off in the middle of the fight at this next run. I clearly did not have my head in the game, but luckily this little beauty cutty broke the cycle of sucking, and I had to bust out the dry dropper rig to make it happen.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god, are you guys seeing that? Holy schnitzel. There it is. That's insane. They're going after the big chubbies. Nice, yes. See ya, buddy. That was yet another nice fish caught on that adjustable. Man, I don't know what it is or what's causing it, but there is a frenzy of big fish in here that are going after our big dries. Oh my gosh. I don't know what it is. I don't see anything big yet, but this could be epic. I might have to switch my rigs around a little bit and yeah, adjust for this new variable. I think this could be the answer to our question there. That was another salmon fly. Oh my gosh, if there's a salmon fly hatch tonight, that would be insane. I figured I was out a little too late to hit that. Guess they're Guess they're moving different here in Wyoming. That's cool, man. All right, here we go. It's stimmy time. This is a shout out to my boy Nick. Send me your biggest stimmy vibes. I need them right now. I'm hoping this is the trick. Ooh. Oh, buddy. Oh, this one's for you, Nick. Oh, man. Oh, I was watching you too, you son of a gun. Yes! Oh, yes! That's a fish right there, buddy. Oh, yes, indeedy. That's a beautiful hen. There it is. Proof in the pudding, baby. All right, she's being super floppy. So here's a quick 2-hander for you, Nick. That is your stimmy fish, brother. That is, oh, that's exactly what we wanted, man. That's so sick.
Satisfied with that last night's fish back, it was time to make the march upstream. Now, a lot of the runs further up mirrored the first one that we fished, but it seemed as though fish densities were much lower, or the fish just weren't eating. Maybe it was the time of the day, or where the fish were actually sitting in the runs themselves. I'm not sure, but I can tell you this, we ended up doing a lot more walking than we did fishing.
Yeah, that's a good fish. That is indeed a good fish. Come on, man, you're really putting a bend in this fiber. There you are, Cuddy. Nope, you're brown. Wow, holy shit, that's a nice fish. Damn, bro. Damn, I don't think you're supposed to be in here, man. Well, it's kind of funny. When I hooked him and he was fighting like hell, I'm like, man, he's dogging. He is absolutely dogging me. And yeah, I'm like, this feels like a brown trout. And you know, it's kind of weird how you have a feel for certain trout. But yeah, I didn't think there were any brown trout in here, which is kind of surprising. I think there's a fish barrier way upstream. I mean, that is a thick son of a gun. But yeah, we'll let this guy back, man. Good to have you around, I guess. Well, our sunlight is slowly closing in. I think we've got another half hour, 40 minutes before it goes over the hills, and yeah, that might very well be our last fish of the day. I don't want to count my chickens too soon, but the bite seems to have slowed down a bit. We had that first hole where it was electric, and then subsequently since, you know, I see hatches all over the place. I'm, you know, hooking fish, but it's been slower. So maybe that's just angle error. I don't know. Let's keep moving upstream though, and yeah, keep piecing something together while we got light.
That big brown did in fact end up being our last fish of the day, and as the shadow of the hills enveloped the creek, it was hard to leave. But I had to remind myself that I had gotten so much more than I could have ever hoped for out of this valley. And I mean, the drive over the pass, it was also set to be quite a long one, so having a little bit of extra evening light to guide the way to our next camping spot certainly wouldn't hurt. Plus, golden hour tends to bring out all the best critters.
It's a little badger family, look at them. Oh, they're so cute. Don't go, no. Where are you going? No. Into the sagebrush. Enjoy your summer, friend.
Besides the badger family, it was an ungulate evening. A doe and her fawn, they were following the creek upstream as well, and I saw a few nice bucks too. This fine fellow, whew, he was going to be quite the specimen come fall. And the last thing that I saw, which didn't make much sense at the time, was a herd of pronghorn antelope. I have never seen this plain species so far up a mountainous range before, and I gotta say, it was a welcome surprise. So, pushing up and over the pass, there were a few good places to stop and learn a bit more about the Colorado Cutthroat and the Tri-Basin Divide itself. If you have the time and consider yourself a native trout junkie, this is a really cool spot to research. The significance, it might make a bit more sense tomorrow. Finally able to catch up on some sleep, getting up and going was a lot easier, especially with the help of over-caffeinated canned coffee. Driving in, the deer didn't seem to mind the dirt road disturbance, and this doe and fawn, they were enjoying their mountain sunrise and gave me a curious eye as I passed by. It was a cold one. This side of the mountain seemed to be a few weeks behind the spot I was fishing yesterday, and no matter where you go, it's always a good idea to pack some extra layers, but that couldn't be more true than in the mountains. But outside the slight bite of the crisp air, this was a perfect morning. The sun slowly graced the valley with its radiant gold, and the wildflowers all answered with a vibrant array of colors that were soft on the eye. I found myself tripping and stumbling all the way down to the river because I just couldn't keep my eyes on the ground. Drinking in a morning like this is why it's worth being an early bird. Conditions on the river matched the scenery around me. Clouds of mayflies were praising the sun with a beautiful aerial dance, but clearly I was missing something. I fished quite a few runs with almost nothing to show for it.
Probably don't need this in the river. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Could be early, water could be high. I mean, there's a big ass hatch and nothing's coming up. This drainage is a lot different than the one just over the ridge that we fished yesterday, where, you know, there's a lot of slower water, riffle runs, pools. This seems to have a higher gradient and it is moving so fast. So I think I'm gonna double back and hit a smaller stream that I saw coming in. And yeah, it looked meadowy, it looked fishy, so at least give this a chance to warm up maybe and then come back to this. So yeah, let's keep putting these puzzle pieces together and hopefully we can get on what we're looking for here.
Now, I've been doing this whole fly fishing thing for quite some time now, and I can usually trust my angling intuition to make the right choice. You ever heard the expression listening to your gut? However, this was one case where I completely missed the mark. The smaller feeder creek further downstream was muddy and warm, and I highly doubt trout would be swimming in that section, at least the one that I hiked up. But the silver lining in this colossal waste of time is that I could now finally feel my toes and the sun was shining down strong. I tucked the rods into the windshield wipers yet again and craned my neck out the window looking for a good spot. The road wasn't the best and going was certainly slow, but we didn't have time to waste. I told myself I needed to head north to finish out this road trip before noon. Luckily in the distance, I saw what looked to be a series of beaver ponds and I figured that would probably be my best bet. Creeping up the wood and mud walls of this rather large tiered beaver structure, I saw my very first rise of the day. I go into every stream situation with the mindset of Missouri because you gotta show me before I believe there are any trout to catch. This was a massive relief because the fishing gods were telling me that I at least had a chance.
That's a good fish. That's a great fish. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't play that. Yes! That's a dandy! What an absolute beauty. Holy cow. That right there is my first Lohontan cutthroat. That is amazing. Wow, you are a monster. It looks like something got after him. Can't tell what exactly that is, if that's a critter or a bird. But this Lohontan is one survivor, man. That is incredible. Well, that's one way to start a morning right there. That was an absolute tank of a fish. And like I might have mentioned in my rambles, that was a Lohontan cutthroat. There's only a few drainages, a few creeks here in Wyoming that actually have populations, native populations of the Lohotans. And that, I mean, you can't ask for the scenery, the fish, and then like I don't know, fishing's kind of been tough. And what I noticed, and again, sorry for the rambles, this is Fisherman Mike talking, I'm sorry, but what I'm noticing right now is that the water is extremely cold. When I passed up and over the drainage, I still saw snow on some of the higher overpasses, so we still could be well within snowmelt. I mean, relatively, or it's relatively fresh. So the sun still hasn't given the water time to warm up, and the fish maybe aren't as active. And with that bite, I swear, it felt like I had a stick. I've been catching sticks all morning, but when I set into him, he did like the very trademark whop, 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 like with that cadence, like very slow, slow, slow. Like he was kind of having trouble getting up, getting going, looking for his morning coffee, and instead, my nymph got him, man. And the white marks on his side, it looks like a critter or some sort of valley eagle or osprey got after him. He swam back fine. He's a good looking fish, really healthy. So, man, I think he's okay, and that kind of made my morning right there. That made my day. That's what we came here for, man.
With my watch showing 11 a.m., I felt more than fine with breaking down the rods and finishing at the last little bit of this road trip. By almost every metric, I had accomplished everything I would have wanted to when traveling through the Tri-Basin Divide. Getting to hold a few massive Colorado cutthroat and my first Lohontan were nothing short of a dream. And I think that it's safe to say that this was a perfect way to start this Western trip.
Well, howdy folks. If you were seeing this, well, that means the video is over and you've made it all the way through. All I have to say, like always, is thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And standing in the middle of a beautiful valley in Wyoming, it's very strange talking to a black box, but I'm imagining it's you sitting at home, and again, thanks. I really do appreciate it. I love how you guys follow along with these stories. I love telling them, and I don't know, it gets me so stoked that there's people out there that kind of want to join in my adventures, be it for the learning or just the general enjoyment. So yeah, it really does mean a lot, and unfortunately, the way this platform works, the more you guys like, subscribe, comment, all that BS shilly stuff that is, I don't know, kind of gross to the platform, it does help. Don't do it. I'm not telling you to do it. But what I do enjoy talking to you guys in the comments. I love hearing your stories. So feel free to leave a little comment below what you guys think of this adventure, kind of the new setting. I mean, we're out west, baby. This is what it's going to be for a while. So it's so good. But folks, wherever you find yourself, be it in the Wyoming backcountry or in your backyard, I sure hope you keep those feet in the water. And until next time, tight lines.